Hello, my name is Jody Harris, and I am with the LRN Partner Support Team. And in this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up a supervisor report. We have some partners that do utilize supervisor reports. And what that means is they will run a report on the back end using the campaign manager reports. And they will send this report to the end user supervisor. In addition to that supervisor seeing the report of any subordinates that are outstanding, they will also receive a preface email. They will only see the subordinates that they're assigned to. And let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and log in real quick. But the first place we're going to visit is Bulk Load Manager. Because in order to set up a supervisor report, you have to have at least one of these two fields here. And I'm going to show you. If I just go to ADM and I want to see my data set, this is my particular data set in this test site. In order to set up a supervisor report, you need either a manager's email or a manager's user ID for each user that you add in. You need one of the two, either manager's user ID or manager's email. In this site here, I have manager's email. So for every end user that I load, I'm going to upload their manager's email. And this is how that supervisor gets mapped to that subordinate. So you must have one of these two fields set up. Because when we set up the report, it's going to ask you how to map this. If you do not have this type of field, either a manager user ID or a manager email, please contact Partner Support because you need to get that added into your site. And we can add that column of data in your site. So let's go ahead and set up a supervisor report. So I'm going to go to Admin Tools. Remember, all reports are run out of Campaign Manager. I'm going to select the Reports tab, and I'm going to create a brand new supervisor report. I'm going to select Create Report, and I'm going to name it. And we'll just call this Information Security Supervisor Report. That's the name of my report. Again, anything with an asterisk is a required field. Do not select the back button when you're working within the system or you will receive a session error. If you need to navigate, make sure you use these links over here to go back and forth. A supervisor report is underneath the assigned campaign completions report. So I'm going to select Assign Campaign Completion Report and then Edit Filters. Now I'm looking for a particular campaign. This is the example I'm going to use. So I want to report on a certain campaign that's in my test site here, which is this Q4 Information Security. I'm going to select Continue. So this is the campaign I'm going to report on. Now remember, you're sending this out to supervisors. The majority of the time, you're only going to report on users who have not completed all their assigned mandatory modules. That's really all they want to see, are the people who have not completed. Now you could report on both, but remember, this is going out to your supervisors. Maybe you need help gathering your stragglers, so you only want to report on users who have not completed their assigned mandatory modules. You can report on overdue or maybe just not yet due. Maybe you're kind of giving them a heads up and you're saying, hey, this campaign's coming up for due on a due date and I still haven't received this module in. But we're going to report on both. We only care about active users. I'm going to select Continue. We're still in Step 1 Data. Select Save and go to Next. If I scroll down, I'm going to see where it says Supervisor Report. Generate reports for each supervisor listing their subordinates who have not completed their mandatory modules. And I want this report to be in PDF. There's no manipulation within PDF, but you do have a choice on the output file to send that report in Excel or CSV. The majority of the time, the admins are going to send it via PDF. And I'm going to select Edit Display. So what do I want to report on? What do I want my supervisors to see within that report? It's really up to you. Columns on the left are available. Columns on the right are included. So some of this information I'm going to take out, but again, it's up to you on what you want that supervisor to see. I'm going to remove login name, maybe language. I definitely want completion status in here. Anything with a number sign, I'm probably going to remove it because it just takes up columns of data. And these are basically the 4 things that I want that person to see, or that supervisor to see. Their last name, their first name, their email address, their completion status, mandatory modules remaining. I have the ability to sort the report. But this right here is where you set up your supervisor report. Select the user data field that contains the supervisor information. That's why it's very important that you have supervisor email, or in this case it's called manager email. You either have to have a manager or supervisor email or a manager or supervisor user ID, because this is how it's going to map it. Send generated reports directly to each supervisor. Yes. For email delivery to each supervisor, the selected field must contain the supervisor's email address or user ID. It does. This is the manager's email address, so I'm selecting supervisor email address. A report about users without valid supervisor information will be sent to the admin. So what this is an orphan report. So if someone bulk loaded data, maybe an end user did not include their manager's email address, that report's going to come to whoever's in this field here. That's what we call an orphan report. The email will contain, we recommend a link to the report where that supervisor has to actually authenticate before they can see the report. That's what we recommend. This is where you're going to specify that preface email. It's located right here. Specify email messages to supervisors. This is not done in the Email Templates tab. If you want to send a supervisor report with a preface email to that supervisor, it's located right here. I'm going to select Specify Email Message to Supervisor. Now this is a very generic report. If you've had a chance to review the announcement email and reminder template recording sessions, you know that you can use variables. It's pretty fancy. You can put in dear first name, last name. It'll customize that report. But in a supervisor report, it's pretty generic. Remember, anything with a red asterisk is required. So what do you want the from address to be? Well, let's put this from our CEO. So the email is going to come from John Jones. I want all the reply tos to come to me. And then you need to insert a subject line. We'll just call this Leader Report, Outstanding User. Again, very generic. And here is where you're going to put your message body. And I'm just going to type something in. Very generic. So that is the text of my message going out to my supervisor. Now what we have below is if you have an internationalized site, you could also send out this report, or actually this email, translated. So let's pretend like we have supervisors over there in Germany, and we want them to see this text here in German. Right now, the default is content above. So if they're a supervisor, right now they're going to see the text of this email, the English one. But maybe I want to translate that in German. I can. If I select Translation and then Add Translation, I am going to have to insert the German translation here, where my German supervisors will see the German text. Our system does not translate this for you. You will have to work with someone maybe within your organization to translate the subject line and also the message body. That's how you can send out that supervisor email translated. But in this example that I'm showing you, I'm just going to have everyone receive, all my supervisors, this text here. But you do have the ability, if you have a translated or an internationalized site, depending on what languages you have licensed to you, you do have the ability to send out that supervisor email in their native language. But right now, they're all going to receive content above. I'm going to select Continue. I'm still in Step 2 format. My supervisor information is all filled out. I'm going to hit Continue again. We're still in Step 2 format. To advance to Step 3, I select Save and go to Next. Most of the supervisor reports are scheduled. Hardly any admins will do a run-on-demand report. So I'm going to show you how to schedule a delivery for a supervisor report. So I want to set this up, run this report on the specified time and date, specify report schedule, generate the report. Let's say it's 7 a.m. What's the first run date? I'm going to check on the calendar. I want these supervisors to receive the email and the report starting August 5th. Select Continue. And then you know what? I want to set up a reoccurring report. So then I want them to get it every Friday. And then I want them to stop receiving it. Let's put a date way out there. On 11/25/2011. Maybe that's kind of the end of the due date. The due date for the campaign. So every Friday, these supervisors are going to receive that preface email along with a report of all their subordinates who are outstanding on their mandatory modules. Select Continue. Still in Step 3, Delivery. Hit Save and go to Next. And then I want to activate the report. Here's my report here, Information Security, Supervisor Report. Right over here is my schedule. This is the first run date. And these are all the days that it will run. That's how you set up a supervisor report. But very important, the very first step you need is you need to make sure within your site you either have a supervisor email address for each user or a supervisor user ID. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact Partner Support at 877-542-9928, or you can contact us via email at support@lrn.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand by.